Ever since America's inception, there's been a lot of anti-minority sentiments. After slavery was abolished, it was the black population that was despised. When East Asians started moving over, we called them the Yellow Peril, portrayed as uneducated, cheap laborers. When South Asians came, we called it the Hindu invasion. Let's just say that we weren't always the most tolerant. The U.S. Census Bureau provides some interesting statistics on the performance of immigrants and minorities in America compared to the majority white population. Particularly interesting is the performance of immigrants from East and South Asia, as well as recent African immigrants. Let's take a look. In educational attainment, on average, Americans have a 24% likelihood of having a degree and being university educated. In terms of the majority white population, 25.5% are university educated. Now compare this to certain immigrant populations. 65% of people with ancestry from India have university degrees. 48% of those with Chinese heritage have university degrees, and 43% of Koreans and Filipinos have university degrees. The average number for minorities from the regions of Southeast and Southeast Asia is 42.5%. That's almost double the national average. This trend repeats itself in average incomes. The average family income of people with Indian heritage is around $69,000. For Filipinos, it's $65,000. For Japanese, around $61,000, and for Chinese, nearly $59,000. In contrast, the national average is $48,000. Another striking difference is the amount of people with advanced degrees. In general, the majority average of people with advanced degrees is 3% in America. However, for Indian Americans, it's 12.5%. For Chinese, it's 8.5%. This corresponds to the amount of people working in high-skill occupations. The majority average is 21.4%, but for Chinese it's 42%, and for Indian Americans it's 52%. Now let's shift the focus towards African immigrants. Did you know that in general, immigrants from Africa actually have the highest statistic of university degrees compared to other continents? Even higher than immigrants from Asia. While minorities with Indian, Chinese, and Japanese ancestry perform well, and I've chosen Indian and Chinese because those are very large populations in America, immigrants from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos actually perform more along the lines, or less, than the national average. So the average for Asian immigrants as a whole, then, is 42.5%, which is actually lower than the amount for African immigrants, which is 43.8%. Surprising, isn't it? I find these statistics to be pretty interesting, especially considering the negative attitudes that we've had in our history and even today towards minorities, and especially stereotypes. And yet, the success of the African immigrants has unfortunately not been documented that well.